is well, you probably do know he's an alumni. But you may not know he was one of the co-captains in his senior year of this team. All right? Yeah. Believe that, Logan? You know he works here at PCS?
He does?
Occasionally.
Wait, really? Huh.
And you know he's one of our lead build mentors.
No way.
So, Mr. Matt Petrie.
He's also the best in the
Hi, I'm Matt Petrie. I'm going to try to keep this short because it's going to get really hot in here really quickly. As Ms. McCandlish said a minute ago, I'm an alumni of the team. I was on the team from 2007 until 2011. And I work at this company as a mechanical engineer. Everybody at this company wears a lot of hats. And one of the hats that I wear is actually going out. I go to training seminars and I present a 4-hour presentation about who PCS is, what we're doing in a particular industry, and then the rest of that presentation is a full-blown technical diagnostic education on how to troubleshoot our electrical, hydraulic, and mechanical systems. Now, I'm not going to do those 4 hours in less than 30 minutes, but I will show you guys the first couple slides because I feel it gives a very good representation of what Powertrain Control Solutions is. This is a company that you guys see on a regular basis, but there's a lot more going on than just the toy room warehouse in the back that you guys typically stay in. So typically I would say hi, who I am, and the bathrooms are over that way, and we're going to take a couple breaks, and this is going to take 4 hours, but we're not going to do that this time. This is for your benefit, blah, blah, blah. The whole point of this is to develop a professional product supplier to customer relationship. The best thing you can do if you're in a professional role is develop a good rapport with whoever you need to work with. Everything is about relationships in the professional world. Making sure that if a customer needs help, they can go to you and you can give them an answer like that. Because in a lot of cases, these people who have equipment, these are vehicles that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and for that piece of equipment to be inoperable for any amount of time, that's money being wasted. So if I start monotoning, everybody gets a free object throw. We're just gonna make sure this stays lively enough. No, please actually don't. Again, we're gonna go through a brief introduction of who PCS is and what we do, an overview of the transmission that we're not actually going to talk about, a 5-step troubleshooting process to this transmission that we're not going to talk about, example scenarios of common failures on these pieces of equipment, and then finally we're not going to do a live hands-on testing of the system. So this is all information you will never need to know, hopefully. Go to school, kids. So we were founded in 2003. Since then, we've been primarily an electronic engineering company. We do transmission controllers, other body control modules. We've done engine controllers in the past. This is bread and butter for us. All of the rest of this company is designed around finding more ways to sell transmission controllers because they are the largest, they are the highest, they're the best investment for us because they're dirt cheap to make and they cost a lot of money because there's so much development time into those. We work to solve customer and industry specific problems, and there's 3 primary industries that we're involved with. You guys see a lot of the race cars and stuff in the back with the dynos. So we're part of performance aftermarket, race cars, fun toys like that. We're also involved with military. We do have a large number of military contracts that we are constantly developing solutions for. You guys don't see a whole lot of that. That's behind closed doors typically. And then finally, there is the ground support equipment industry, which this large presentation that I do is typically a part of. We have 3 locations in the U.S. One in Ashland, Virginia. It's central, close to Richmond, Central Virginia. One in Sharon, Pennsylvania, and finally, our other locations actually rented out warehouse space at General Motors out in Michigan and Chicago. All these locations are ISO 9001 certified. All of our products are designed, built, and tested in the U.S. at any of these given facilities. None of this stuff is, built in China or, shipped over from wherever it would typically be coming from if you went to a company that was just sourcing for the best price. I already said that. You guys know this location very well. Typically, I will talk about this is our development headquarters. This is the place where all of our engineers live and work on developing these products such as the transmission controllers, these wiring harnesses that you guys see in the back in the warehouse space. Those are all built here in the U.S. And does this room look familiar? So we actually do use this space during the daytime for morning meetings to get the engineering staff up to speed on daily updates on projects, as well as training seminars that we'll bring people in for, whether it's a new development customer or development and training for one of our 3 large industries. You can see here on the next slide, well, this same slide, we actually expanded our warehouse space. We doubled our production facility to give us more space for this growing company that we're luckily a part of. I hope you guys know you're lucky. I'm telling you right now, you guys are very lucky. Our other facility is in Sharon, Pennsylvania. Now, up until this point, they have been doing all of our circuit board production. They actually take a printed circuit board and they populate it with all of these little electrical components and then solder it together, put it into a case that we have designed, and test it all there. Now, this is a facility that's been doing all these contracts for years, and they're actually geared up to be able to do 3 shifts a day, 7 days a week, full-blown production. When we are at, back in 2008, when we were at war, we were actually running 3 shifts at a time. So right now we're only running 1 shift, and it's a much, how do I say, things are a lot more relaxed these days. We are a GM Platinum supplier, 100% defect-free, 100% on-time delivery. That's something that not a lot of companies can claim that they do. What's interesting is, typically with the technicians that I do this presentation to, they've seen this controller right here. You guys might not recognize it, but that's got a different label on it. We actually, 90% of the transmission controller aftermarket electronics, they're actually our design, even if there's a different label on it. We have Ford, General Motors, Aston Martin aftermarket. We're about to get a new contract with Mopar, Dodge Motors. We're large in the industry, even though you don't see our label a lot. We are present with a lot of this custom aftermarket electronics. And there's some other companies here that we do work with, such as Oshkosh Defense, that just got the new JLTV contract, a very large contract. It's the Humvee replacement. AM General, all the Humvee controllers from 2008 beyond were our design, as well as General Dynamics and Tata Motors out in India. So this is a lot of what I do at my job. I mentioned we have 3 industries. One of the 3 industries is the industrial market. And this transmission, you'll notice some transmission parts lying around here, and back in the warehouse where you guys are working, you'll see those parts lying around. That's the GM 4L70, that we're one of the few companies in the world that can actually buy those brand new direct from General Motors. So we've developed a number of solutions for customers to be able to put those into vehicles. Other vehicles include donkey forklift. These guys, really neat little project. This is a 6-speed transmission that we've developed and put into this forklift. You'd never think a forklift would have like a car transmission, but some of these are actually neat meet production projects. 6, 8, and 10 speed, fancy stuff. We do in-house here in Ashland all of this design work. We draw it up in SolidWorks. We 3D print everything here and validate that it will fit together properly and integrate with all the proper hardware. And then we'll go and actually do FEA testing on all of that and production parts. Whether we are contracted to produce the parts, or we will outsource and let the customer outsource those parts. Doesn't matter to us. How am I doing on time? 15 minutes?
Good, yeah, 15.
And then another 3 hours of transmission, blah, 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 blah. Typically right now we take a break, but that's what I do. That's what this company does here. I've worked here for 6 years, 9 months, something like that now. I really enjoy working here. There's a number of Blue Cheese alumni that work here and have worked here in the past. If I was going to say, I don't have a whole lot else to say about myself. I went to school. I went to J. Sargent Reynolds for 2 years, got an associate's degree in mechanical engineering. While working here, I did that, and then I went to Virginia Commonwealth University for 2 years. I did not finish my bachelor's in mechanical engineering. Part of me wishes I'd almost gone to a trade school, personally. There are a lot of options other than college if you don't have a love for academia. There's electricians out there that make just as much as professional engineers. There are plumbers, there are automotive technicians. Just food for thought. You know, I want you guys to realize how lucky you are and how many opportunities that you guys have. And really what it boils down to is what's going to make you guys happy and what's going to... My father at one point in life told me there's 3 things at any job that you need to be watching out for, and if you do not like 2 out of those 3 things, you need to move on. Do you like what you do? That's the first and foremost thing. Do you like what you do in the professional world, as in the workforce? Do you like who you work with? When you think of a job, you know, that's not always the first thing you think about, who you work with and how the social environment at your job is. And do you like how much money you're getting paid for whatever work and the people that you have to deal with? Do those 3 things, you need 2 out of those 3 things. If you don't like who you work with, what you do, and how much you're being paid, you should probably take a deep breath, think about your life choices, and figure out if you need to move somewhere else. But my point of all that is make sure that you're happy in life. A lot of what we do here is making sure that you guys have the opportunities to, whether it's media or website development or the robots downstairs. The point isn't the robot. The robot is a tool. And the whole point of this program is to get you guys exposed to professionals in the field that you might not be otherwise exposed to in, up at Deep Run High School. So, I do want to embellish that if there's anything that I can do to help you guys, if you have questions about what's going on downstairs, make sure you're asking questions. Another thing my father told me is learn something new every day. If you're not learning something new every day, you're doing it wrong. Make sure you're always growing. That's what differentiates people that succeed in life, professionals in the field that go on and keep getting raises and become managers and become vice presidents and presidents of companies. That's the difference. They are always expanding their horizons and learning new things, even if it doesn't have to do just with what they're supposed to do with that paycheck they're being given. If they're learning something new every day, they're a growing resource, which makes them more valuable to a company, which makes them more likely to be getting promotions, which makes them more educated individuals. You don't need to go to school to be learning X, Y, and Z. I'd recommend that you do. Please go to college, stay in school, kids. But on the flip side, make sure that your education doesn't end at school. Your education should continue to expand beyond that for as long as you're in the workforce. Questions? Yeah, sure.
So now that you guys have the PCB mini building inside the warehouse, you guys design your own boards, print them, and start to run?
We've always designed our board. The great question. We've always designed our boards here. What this facility is actually 3 times faster than the Sharon Wintronics facility. What this facility is going to allow us to do is same day when we develop a circuit board, instead of having to send the design out, get the circuit board printed, ship that to Pennsylvania, get a slot in the machine, a time slot in the machines there, build it, ship it here, all of those logistics and timings, that we're cutting down to essentially 0. The time it takes to get the physical parts in here, that's all it's going to take. We're not going to replace that facility, but we are going to start using both facilities in conjunction. Did I answer that question? I'm excited. That facility is HEPA filters. It's stage 6 or something filtration in there. It's a clean room, the type where you put the booties on your shoes, and they wear anti-static wristbands and the whole 9 yards. It's really an advanced facility. There's quite a lot of money that went into that, and it's been really interesting to see it get built up. Yeah.
I was kind of surprised at how quickly you guys built up a trust and partnership with big companies after being founded. Is that kind of the norm, or was there something special about what you guys did?
That's a wonderful question. There was a niche market that was unattended to. Aftermarket transmission controllers was something that not a lot of companies did in the past, and they didn't have a lot of experience with it. And the Mr. Russell Turner, who's the owner of the company, they realized that this niche was a thing, and they went and developed an elegant, effective, a good product. And that's why we were able to grow so fast, because when you have a good product, people start to realize that, and they see it and they say, I never had that before, but I need it. It's like same thing with smartphones. Look, 10, 20 years ago, no one had smartphones, but now all of a sudden, everyone needs one all the time. So same thing with our market. You find a product that people didn't have before, you make them like it, and they continue to buy it. It's getting hot here, isn't it? Anything else?
What was your personal favorite project that you've worked on at PCS?
That's a great question. I really do enjoy working with these tractors. The interesting thing is, you can be at a computer doing CAD work all day long, but unless you get to see the application, you can't do your job nearly as effectively. So being able to actually go out to these airports and work with the people that are operating and maintaining this equipment, that's been the neatest thing for me, because then I can come back to this facility, I can come back to my desk and sit down and say, well, I know that guy and I know what he needs. So, that mentality of customer service, I think, does a whole lot as far as how happy you are and how effective you are at what you're doing at your job. Yeah.
How many people work in this facility?
That's another great question. It's somewhere 40 to 50. We have, I think, about 15 engineering staff, and then another probably 15 production people. Now, when that circuit board facility in the back opens up, there will be an additional, I think, 5 people that will be operating that equipment. So 30, 40, 50 people, something like that. I'm really happy with the way this team has developed in the last couple of years. I'm really proud of you guys. I think that the tables that we've built in the back, the workspace that we now have, the storage space that we now have, and the the energy with both the students and the mentors this year, I think, has been outstanding. And I just want to say how proud I am of you guys, and I want you guys to keep it up and never stop asking questions and learning things, because that's the whole point of what we're doing here.
All right, Matt, anybody else have any questions? All right. Okay, wait, he's not done. Favorite robot while you were on the team?
Swiss. In 2010, there was a soccer game. It was Breakaway, and it was a tank of a robot. It was 6-wheel drive. All it had to do was suck up a ball and kick it into a goal, and we ended up winning our first regional down in North Carolina. And then we ended up winning our second regional here at the Siegel Center at VCU. And then I'll never forget, there was this moment that we were at Worlds, and we were like 6 matches in. There's 10 matches, right? We're 6 matches in, and we're undefeated. We've won all of our matches. Oh my God, we're undefeated. It was so cool, and we ended up being undefeated in all of our qualification matches at World that year. Undefeated in quarterfinals, semifinals, and then we lost both of our finals matches. We were so close to getting to Einstein that year, it wasn't funny. And then we went to be second place at a competition after season competition called IRI. I don't know how many of you have heard of it, but that was an amazing event. Only the best teams get invited there, and we did very well at that event that year. So Swiss is the answer to that question.
Were you in person, like, there when Dean came and got in the face with the soccer ball?
I was there. I was there. It was not us. The ball may have hit us and deflected into him, but we were not the ones that actually launched the ball at Dean Cannon.
Second part of that question, what is the craziest thing that you have had to do for this team?
I think it probably would have been as a mentor. I think it was like 2 years ago. We were really behind on the build schedule, and we actually ended up doing an overnighter here. We had a little sleepover. And it was really funny because, I don't know, it was like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, and the kids were getting tired, so they all went up wherever they were sleeping, and they all went to bed, and it was like a couple mentors were like, all right, we're going to keep working, and then a couple of the kids actually snuck back down after everybody else was asleep, and it was like
Stacy.
One of them's in this room.
it was we wired the entire robot in one night, as well as finishing a lot of the other mechanical issues. So that's definitely one of the craziest things that I've done with this team.
I was there.
And your favorite cheese is?
Swiss.
Not cold
Sharp
cheddar.
cheddar, not extra sharp, sharp cheddar.
Sharp cheddar. Matt, thank you. You guys have any other questions? He'll be down for lunch with us, so